Hello, everybody. It's a lovely afternoon here in London. Very, very grey. And so this video should accompany you with the marketing outbound plan that I'm going to send to you individually. Now, the obvious thing to talk about here is why, what else can you use? This tool today is your LinkedIn, and I would highly recommend that we do at least 100 people a week in LinkedIn. And using your Sales Navigator to build those um, searches is, the fastest way that you can just ensure that there's a lot of outbound going out. Now, usually the conversion rate's around 4% from this platform, and I'll show you how to set this up in a second, and also the scripting document that I've sent everybody for this round. But obviously, when it comes to other strategies, I do want you to leverage a circle of influence. I do want to leverage networking. I do want to leverage all of those different things because those tools are very highly converting and can be reached. You can reach people that just wouldn't necessarily come back to the other stuff like LinkedIn because a lot of people just aren't on LinkedIn, for example, or they aren't on, maybe they're just too busy all the time. So you don't just want to use this, but it is a good tool for the meet for the first round of these. So let me just grab this up now, and we will get cracking. So I'm just trying to find the right thing. So many tabs, so little time. Currently building out our new training system, which you guys will all have access to. So a lot of fun. All right, let me share the screen. Let's find out how we can build some outbound funnels. Now, this tool is called Linked Helper. You can have a trial of around 14 days. I do believe then it's around $15 a month for what we're going to need for you. And this here is one of our clients, Alan, who is a very, very cool client, and I'm going to use him as the example today. Now, when it comes to Linked Helper, it is here as a tool, as a facilitation tool. It is not something that we just want to bombard people with stuff all the time with. We should use it very strategically, perhaps once or twice a week maximum, and really not more than 100 people a week. Otherwise, it can get a bit excessive. Now, we should also not leverage it for too many follow-ups. If you really want to follow up with someone, please leverage a different platform like email or the phone, or even going and seeing them, because guess what? We're a local business. Now, when it comes to this platform, we usually would like to set up two messages, and what it will do is allow you to build lists, and it will allow you to send a connection and a message to those individuals. Now, when it comes to Sales Navigator lists, I better touch on this before we move onto the actual outbound. The Sales Navigator lists are not 100% accurate. If we can all remind ourselves of the pyramid of tiers that I sent to you in the document or the BOS guide that I'm going to also attach to this email, that is very apparent on LinkedIn. There is a massive mix of quality of lead on this platform. The best way to ensure that you're going to get those tier two prospects, those tier three prospects, is to hand build your list. And when I mean hand build your list, if I was going to set up a criteria here, let's say for Michael Smith, who's one of the team on this challenge, I would want to include typically these three. So 1 to 10, 11 to 50, 51 to 200. That is going to allow us to attack the majority of those base tiers. If you want to go higher and you want to do some exec coaching, then obviously please include the rest. Now, when it comes to the headquarters location, this is the most important one. So Mike's would have been St. Louis, Missouri. And obviously, Mike, please feel free to add further things in there like zip codes and whatever. You'd want to put this in the company headquarters, but you also want to put it down there in the geography. So some people like to add the state, so we could add Missouri in here or whatever. So just add a little bit of a wider gap just in case people are commuting in. This is typically where someone is and lives. This one is typically where their office based is. So this one is your criteria for your actual franchise territory. This one is generally just, there to catch a slightly wider net. You can also, in industries, remove things like coaching, can remove things like non-profits. You can add things like manufacturing, whatever. But when it comes to the fact that your business is a very location-based business, it is not going to give you massive results if you do start going down into industry. So we like to stay whole market, and you'll hear me talk about whole market networking more. What I mean by whole market networking is we typically would like to triage out once we've spoken to somebody. Okay, so we can include things in here such as the job titles. We typically would include things like CEO, president. Typically, these two are the owner at this stage. They're not usually employed. Usually businesses don't have the capital to, or the cash flow to employ an employed chief exec or president unless they're part of a group. But obviously you can also put in things here like owner. You can put founder in. Founder does typically drag up a bunch of creative and a bunch of technology. So if as long as you're okay with them coming into your list, then it's going to be there. Now, as you can immediately see, there are some things in here that already would stand out as, people that maybe aren't a lead. So if you want to do this the fast way, you would typically create this list and just save everybody to your target audience list. All right. So you'd save it to, for example, round one or round two or whatever or the month. Okay. Now, if you want to go the slower route, but the more accurate route, you would typically go through and select the people that you want to do. You can do this over a glass of wine one evening and be very judgmental of who you pick. Please feel free to do that, but it does add a layer of time requirement. But when it comes to the first rounds or two, maybe it's worth doing so. If I was in your shoes, I would be leveraging my criteria here, and I would just having a quick scroll. Anyone that I can see, typically this should be basic, accurate to an extent. You will get some people that are not quite correct, um, but it should be accurate. And you can take out industries in here, whatever. This will give you everybody though, especially as we're including the 1 to 10. So you will get small and self-employed, very small businesses. My theory is that because you're territorialized, you should talk to everybody because we should have a product for everybody. Now, that is up to you. But if I was in your position, I would be talking to everybody that moves and that technically is a CEO, owns a business in my territory. It doesn't matter if they're small. The reason why is because they don't want to be small. They don't want to be the size they are. They want to be in your tier two category. And what would happen if we help them get to tier two category? They would love us for life. So why would we not be trying to grow our future list of one-to-ones whilst also targeting our next list of one-to-ones? We should be helping the seedlings turn into flowers, um, and supporting them in their growth and ambition and charging them $100 a month for something to get them in the system, right? So it depends on what your mindset is, but please feel free to do both. Now, once we have a list in here, we can go to our profile situation here and upload the list and it'll do the outbound. So what would we do typically on LinkedIn Helper if we actually just wanted to make a start and make the campaign? You'd go to this page would be the very first page that you'd see, and you'd name the campaign, whatever the heck you want to call it. And that will allow us to then start the campaign here. So typically the campaign that we're running is called the invite and follow up. So that one's already pre-selected. There's a billion things you can do in here as well, but invite and follow up. And this is going to put the message in front of you now, which you then need to use to drive the outbound. Thankfully, I've already created this and I've got test and measures done on this. So we've got 1, 2, and 3 messages here. So we bring that message across. It might be ever so slightly too big, but we'll find out in a second. Now, just like that, it's not too big. So this is going to put the name in here. Please do change the location. This one is actually the one I sent to Jennifer. So you can add a little bit more, but typically this gets a pretty great response. And you can expand on this whatever, and test and measure your result. We do typically get a very it needs to be short and sweet. We've got a maximum of 300 characters. You can add a few more bits in here, but majority of the time it gets the point across. It gets them what we want to do. So once we've saved and closed that, it's going to ask us to then add the next follow-up in. Again, thankfully Josh has done that for you. So Josh will bring that over, put this in the system. And this one is quite been tested for a decade. We know this works. We know this works. So that one's got a typo in it though. But did you get a chance to review my next message? We know that this works. So please do include this. And we then press save. And again, if you want to add that third follow-up in, you don't have to do all of this, but you can. This one is there to just push link-based booking. Link-based booking is very cool, but you put your calendar link in here so that anybody can then jump in. Okay, so replace that and make sure that first name link is hyphenated, is bolded or whatever we call that. It's like a link, and then it'll be ready to go. All right. So when we've done that, what that's going to do is show us a funnel here. So I'm just going to come off of this for a minute, and just make sure that we just go back to the workflow. So you can see the workflow is going to invite second and third level contacts. We're going to then filter them out. It's going to message them. It's going to check for responses. It's then going to message them again. It's then going to check for responses, and then they're going to finish. They will hold down here just in case you want to add anything else in over time, like an email system, whatever that we can provide to you. All I would say is that the criteria, what we need to do as a final check in here is after this check for replies down here, we are going to want to hold on. Okay, after this, we're going to want to add a wait, so delay. So you want to add a delay of 1 day in here. And then after this one, you're going to want to do a delay of around 7 days. So you don't want to do it too crazy. Okay, so we'll delay 7 days, and that's going to finish off the funnel. So with that in there, you would then go back to your list, and you see this plus button here. This plus button is going to allow us to go back to LinkedIn. The other than that, you can just click on LinkedIn, go to our list here. Let's call it round one. Click that plus button again, and then fill from current page. And what that's going to do is that is going to then drag those profiles into this system. Obviously, it's not done it because I've got them in. I've got them in another list. But it will drag them into here, and that number will go up. And then very simply, let me just do one as an example. We'll go back to our search in here. I'll just fill from current page and do 10 or 15 for you so you can see it. There you go. So it's now pulled those 25 in from that page. So you see that's now at 25. Now, another thing that you can do with this is look at your response rates. So if we just go back to one of Alan's campaigns here, we do campaign one, so it's a pretty new campaign. You can see his workflow is working down here. Profiles being delayed. If you were to go to his statistics, you can see this is how many's been accepted. So 106 have gone out, 25 have been successful, and then the responses have been the responses, right? Now, when it comes to this, you'll see your replies based in here, but I actually not run this campaign since we launched it because it went batshit crazy. So if I just have a look here and see if it'll pull the responses for me. I don't have to do that, but let me show you. The number of responses is wild. So another one there. There's lots and lots and lots of shows. And as you're running this yourself, you can just send your calendar link out if someone responds. So someone responds saying, thank you, invitation. I'll be happy to talk to you about this and do the chemistry session. Here's the best days for me. Shoot the calendar link over, they'll book in whatever the process you feel more comfortable with. Again, as you can see here, here's the calendar, jump in. Let's have another calendar link gone out, another calendar link gone out, another calendar link gone out. Um, lots and lots and lots of opportunities, and I believe that this campaign is around actually about a 35%. The reason why it's 35% is because Alan is talking to coaches and consultants. So a lot of fun, and that is what we need you to do before the next week is out. So ideally before next Friday, we do another at least 100 to 200 people through this process. As I said, just to confirm, you are very much able to do the lists hand built, or you can whole market network, which is my preference for you as a very local business. The least that's going to happen is going to end up with lots of local businesses in your link. So have fun. Enjoy. I'm always on Slack. If you have questions, please ping them over. The scripts are loaded. The scripts are ready for you. Let's get moving and let's get some leads generated.